Welcome to the Tea Party Howdy channel. Brace yourselves. It looks like local governments are going to start blaming businesses for the spread of the virus. In fact, LA County enters a perilous phase of trying to reopen without sparking new outbreaks. But what do we do about these thousands of people that were out protesting and throwing a fit? Are you seriously planning on blaming them? Yes. Yes, they are. And in fact, how many were protesting? Well, according to Slate, the far-left magazine, how much should you be worried about a cootie spike from the protest? Let's find out what the experts say. The nation is entering its second week of mass protests over police violence and the brutal killing of George Floyd. While most Americans agree with the protesters' cause, wink wink, some detractors worry about the cities with the largest marches, California, where people are gathering in thousands in the middle of the pandemic. But no, it's the businesses reopening that's sparking the new outbreaks. Didn't you read? You know, these places that were all closed, it's their fault, not the thousands that gathered in the major cities. Those arguments aren't always made in good faith, but the concerns have some validity. Well, one would think so, since you spent the last 3 months telling us you're all gonna die. How big is the risk that the protest could set off a new wave of infections across the country? We should be worried, said Shira Shafir, an associate professor of epidemiology at UCLA Field School of Public Health. What a weird name. Any time now we see people who are not maintaining social distancing, there's the potential for those people to spread the virus. But by the same token, I think we currently are facing two public health crises. The first is the cootie, and the second is racism and police violence that we have been facing for centuries. Wow, no bias there, centuries. Okay, didn't know we even had a police force before the 1860s. What do I know? I just study history, she studies germs. This says they're not going to strike if you're on their side. Really? That's interesting. No, it's not. And look, because see, it's the business's fault. Shame, shame, shame on those wascally businesses. Oh, and what about the churches? Oh, sinners all, sinners all. I'm not going to read this whole article because she just keeps going back and forth going, it's terrible, but it won't hurt us because we're on the right side of history. Yes, decreased risk, open air setting. Well, it's far safer. We'll even underline that for you. Summer temperatures. Yeah. There's some evidence that the virus doesn't spread as well in hot and humid environments, possibly because it breaks down and falls to the ground quickly in humidity. But yeah, that evidence comes from a lab settings, from historical trends and influenza and seasonal viruses, and neither form evidence on conclusive. Plus, hot, humid places such as Brazil have had major outbreaks, so any mitigation from the summer climate is be very modest. So nope, you're still all gonna die. Whoopsie daisy. Frequent mask use. The body of research generally supports the belief that they help slow the spread by reducing how far and in what quality droplets travel, but it's hard to say by how much. It could actually be like nothing. What do we know? Because that's what they're saying. The body of research generally supports the belief, not fact. Yeah, they don't know. Increased risk, densely packed crowds. This is the main reason to worry. It's kind of a setup for transmission. People trumps everything, every other environmental factor, so that it doesn't matter if it's hot, it doesn't matter if it's sunny with the UV light. Oh, she's saying we should inject people with bleach? Is that what she's saying? As long as enough people are there, the virus is happy because it's trying to jump from somebody's nose or mouth into somebody else's nose or mouth. Yet they say you can eat it and it won't affect you. These scientists suck at what it is to be a scientist. The danger varies by location, though in places such as LA, where the cootie cases are still quite high, and so are most of the actual residents, having large gatherings is more likely to spread the virus in places than, say, Portland, Oregon. So you Portland, Oregoners, you get back out there. And LA people, what do you want? Quit your fussing. Shouting, chanting, singing, all really bad. They should use signs. They didn't. Holding cells. Because you really think the holding cells are tighter than the mass crowds? Not even close. Tear gas, oh bad. Demographics, oh now this is funny. I'm sorry, but this is funny. At first, and I'm saying it's funny in the ironic science kind of way. At first glance, the youthfulness of the crowds could be seen as a blessing, given these protesters are less likely to fall seriously ill. Oh, then why are the schools closed? But they are also more likely to be asymptomatic carriers and spread the virus without realizing it. Oops, he killed Grandma. And that's worrying, said George Rutherford, the head of the Infectious Disease and Global Epidemiology Division of the University of California, San Francisco. Then there's the matter of race. Oh, of course there is. Rates of infection are higher in black communities, which are also leading and heavily populating these protests. And before the protests, they were leading and getting together and doing parties but never, ever, ever, ever point that out, because thou shalt not say that there will be responsibility on people doing things if you're... Yeah, anyways. But even when factoring in all these conditions, it's still very difficult to see how we should think about the protests. There's no sort of magical calculator that we can put this into and say that the risk of someone getting infected is X. Shafir, oh, we're back to her now. All we're able to do is look at the different pieces and say, masks are better, but coughing and yelling are worse. All right. Ultimately, it points to what a crisis this is. That people do acknowledge and do understand that there is a chance they are going to get infected with the cootie. Oh, what about killing Grandma? You left out killing Grandma, Miss Shafir. While there is absolutely the possibility, or even the probability, that this virus will be transmitted by individuals who are exercising their right to protest. Really? Are they exercising their right to protest? Because they're not getting the permits, and the groups that were protesting right before them to open their businesses, they weren't celebrated. You weren't out there with your doctorly ways saying, I think they have to be allowed to do so. She didn't say that. None of them said that for the people wanting to open their business. And she definitely didn't say this. And encouraged to do so. Y'all get out there and kill yourselves. Make sure you kill Granny at home. We'll be right here in the lab going, right on, baby, right on. And don't forget, we're gonna blame the businesses for it. It's that easy. It's that easy. The question is, will voters fall for it? Let's hope not. We'll see you in the future.